what is your confidence level on opposite side of Hutch? After seeing Davenport, after seeing Pascal, after seeing James Houston, did your confidence rise a little bit seeing those guys padded up, or was it kind of just a one-man show with Hutch?
I don't think, to be honest, today, Hutch didn't really, I didn't see much of Hutch. I think Hutch was just Hutch today. He was getting to the quarterback, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, Hutch just got 2 sacks. He got a strip sack. He did this. He got a tip pass. He wasn't that crazy. But honestly, if I did out of 10, I would say my confidence levels before going into the training camp, it was probably 3 out of 10, and I was a little worried. It's probably up to 7. And I don't think it's because we have a dude out there. It's just more so Davenport's healthy back. And I saw him play today, and he was out there just absolutely bull rushing people and being a dog. And, Levi Enrique is coming along. And I know he's been having to play the edge position a little bit more. And since he's been playing it, his name's been in the papers on the front page, and people have been talking about him. So I'm confident on that. And James Houston as well. James Houston is back and healthy. I'm more confident. I'm a lot more confident than I was probably a month ago. I've gone from probably a 3 out of 10 all the way up to a 7 out of 10, just knowing. And because everyone is talking about this defensive line. Everyone. Coaches, players, everyone.
Kind of going with what Booner's saying, Gentry, what you can really tell is the impact of Terrell Williams. You can just tell that these guys are just playing very free. They're just doing what they're told because they can trust what they're being coached. And they've already kind of spoke on that. But I mean, even when you're at your boss, when you're talking to your boss at work for anybody, the more you can trust your boss, the more confidence you have in doing your job. And you can just see that in this defensive line group, whether it's the vets or the younger guys, you can tell that these defensive linemen are just playing free.
All right. So Lucas, I know you talked about him a little bit earlier. Fountain, do you think that's a legit option for wide receiver 4? Obviously, we were kind of under the impression that it would be DPJ. If that's not the case, are you comfortable? Obviously, we're not going to be asking too much for him as a wide receiver 4, but do you think that's a comfortable option? And just overall, your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think when you look at Fountain, he's a guy that when he's out there, I think he's going to kind of do – I spoke on it earlier either this week or last week, but he's going to do that what the Marvin Jones role was supposed to be in this offense, where he's out there. He's a bigger body guy. If you throw it to him 2 to 3 times a game, he's going to catch it. But people are saying he's wide receiver 3. Khalif Raymond is wide receiver 3 of this team. But Darius Fountain, he has that X build. He's a guy that has the same build as DPJ pretty much, and he's doing a lot more in camp. So when he's out there, until proven otherwise, he's a good route runner. He has soft hands. I don't think he's going to do much for you after the catch, but he's a guy that you can throw a jump ball up to. So when they ask him to do what he's told and just go out there and execute, I think he's a guy that's going to be able to do it. Maybe not to the highest level, but to a wide receiver 4 or 5 level, absolutely.
Can I just comment off that, the Khalif Raymond thing, and I talked with Jeff about this today because we were talking about wide receiver 3, 4, and who's going to make the team, who's going to be the guy out there. I think what people need to realize when it comes to this battle, right now, Ben Johnson, I think was the one that said it today too. He mentioned, and Klotz, this isn't at you because I'm the one too that says Khalif's wide receiver 3, in the depth, the 3rd best guy.
Yeah.
But Ben Johnson basically said today that, and I believe he actually said the word, a battle at wide receiver 3, and he named Antoine Green, Fountain, he named DPJ. And then what he said at the end with Khalif Raymond, and I think this is where people get a little bit offset with Khalif, is when you're looking at your lineup, you have Amon-Ra, you have J-Mo, and then you need that X guy. I think that X guy is what they're looking at, and the Lions are looking at as their wide receiver 3. And I'm starting to look at Khalif Raymond more so as a utility guy on this offense, to where he can do anything for you. And it's very, very well known that he's a big piece. He doesn't have to compete for snaps. Khalif Raymond isn't going to have to compete for snaps. He's had 400 yards in the last 3 seasons. He has been very consistent. Ben Johnson today said in his press conference that we know Khalif Raymond's going to be a bigger part of this offense, and he's going to be he is already a massive part of this offense. So I don't want people to get all up in this 3, 4. They're looking for a guy that can go out and play the X. They're looking for, Ben said it today, they're looking for a wide receiver who's consistent, who you can rely on. And he said, if we're getting picky, we're looking at a guy that's a little bit longer. And you look like a Darius Fountain. Klotz, him and Antoine Green were standing next to each other. Those guys are bigger. They're big, they're long, and they can go make plays, and they're consistent. So at least Fountain's consistent. So the wide receiver 3 battle is more so in my mind. If people say that, I think it's just more so for that X position, that guy out there with J-Mo and Amon-Ra.
Spot on, Boom.
All right, Lucas, I already know you kind of talked about it, and you kind of fell into the trap too. But is the Levi O hype legit? I mean, you've been kind of gassing up Broderick. We've been pushing for Broderick, but obviously to start the season, we're going to be out without DJ Reader. Are you going to be comfortable after seeing what you've seen today? Obviously, there's still a lot of time. You still got training camp, preseason, stuff like that. But do you think that's a valuable option?
I think when talking about Levi O as a rotational piece for this defensive line, I'm comfortable with it. One, because this line team doesn't have that much behind him. I mean, Levi O, and you look at Broderick Martin, Mekhi Wingo, Levi O is the one that's playing the best right now. If you're talking about Levi O as a starter, then I'm concerned. And not even for the Lions, it'd be for any NFL team. If you have him out of the edge, I feel like there's weaknesses in his game that he is going to get exposed to, just because he's not a guy that is an edge rusher. And if you're talking about him, like I said, at a rotational piece, from what I saw today, from all the reports coming out of camp, from hearing how the players and coaches are talking about him, I'm there, just not as a starter. I still think they need to go get another guy for that room.
Ooh, all right.
Booner, you want to chime in on that one?
No, I mean, I think like, I've said my piece on Levi O. This man has dominated, and people have already spoke about him. Like every time someone gets asked about the defensive line, they don't get asked by specifics, and they bring up Levi O through training camp. So I'll wait. I guess like if people, this is the thing that's happened with me with a lot of different things that I've spoken about. If people want to wait and see it in week 1 or week 2 or week 3, I'll sit here and wait, and we will do it. And then when it happens, if people want to move goalposts and say, well, we need to see it for 17 weeks. Oh, well, we need to see it at this different level now. Levi O is out there competing. He's doing something that people didn't think he could do. You know who the main guy was supposed to be? And no one's really hearing about is Josh Pascal and Josh Pascal. That Jeff looked at me today, and that was a Jeff Iafrate guy. I'm not going to go at Jeff here because he's not here. He can't defend himself. But Josh Pascal, is it Pascal or Pascal? Pascal. Josh Pascal was a Jeff Iafrate guy, and Jeff looked at me today and was like, dude, where has he been? No one's heard about this guy. Where has Pascal been? And I was like, yeah, honestly, like he's out there with the ones. He's repping with the ones. He's just not making plays. And Levi O's making plays. So it's like let's just call a spade of what it is. Guys who make plays are going to be the ones who compete and who are going to be consistent. So can I ask you guys a question here? Because this is one that I had in the
questions, Boom.
Did you want to do you have any more?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Ask your question.
I just want to ask
you want.
We just talked a lot about defense. So I just want to, like, this is the only question I had today that I was just like, I came out of today thinking about, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Do you guys, and people in the chat, if you guys want to chime in and put yes or no, do you guys actually think, like, with all the hype now coming out of the defense, because like Ben Johnson today came out talking about how great this defense has been, and how he came out, and the words he used was this defense has swagger, and they seem confident, and they're on a different level. And Dan Campbell came out yesterday, said the same thing, that he felt like this defense is completely different. Do we actually feel like this defense will be a top 10 defense? I know we asked the docket yesterday. None of us really commented on it. Is it like at that point to where like we came into camp and the only thing we knew we needed, like the Lions needed, was a defense, and you're almost 2 weeks in, and it's like the talk of town is the defense and how good the defense is. We haven't seen that in a long time. Do you guys get that? Or
I don't want to get down in the whole top 10 defense. I think they absolutely have the capability to do so. But when you look at it, I think if they have a top 10 caliber defense, I could see them finishing at 11. I could see them finishing at 12. I could see them finishing at 7. But the point is, this is a respectable defense, and I don't think it takes much more than 5 minutes of watching this defense with the number 1 offense of Detroit Lions to see that. I think there are some weaknesses that you could exploit with them, but every defense in the NFL has that. And I think what matters the most with this team is the chemistry that they do have. They have an identity of stopping the run, and they know exactly what their weakness is heading into the season, and they know that they addressed it, and they addressed it with some fucking dogs. And we talk about Levi. We talk about Mekhi Wingo. We talk about the guys that are kind of on the lower end of the totem pole of this defense, but they're still hungry and they can still make an impact. I think this defense is just going to be playing around the field. They're going to be cracking dudes. They're going to be making plays, creating turnovers. And when you give it to this offense, they're going to be burning the clock, and that's going to make the other quarterback have to throw the ball more. And I think going into this season, having confidence, it's okay. The quarterback for the other team, they're going to be trailing a little bit more, so the ball is going to be aired out. And you're thinking, oh, now we can create plays instead of having to worry about Kendall Vildor or Cam Sutton getting burned. That's what this team is. This is going to be a very good defense. I don't know about top 10. Do I have the confidence in them doing so?
Be bold, Klotzy.
I just know.
Don't walk the line.
They'll be a top 10 defense. I think they'll absolutely be a top 10 defense because they have all the parts that they need to. I don't think they're really elite at anything, but they're good at everything. And I think that matters when you have a good defensive coordinator like Aaron Glenn, because he's going to draw plays to do something for you.
Yeah, I think Lucas said it best. But Boone, I just had a question for you because I saw you tweeted about it earlier. Jared Goff kind of looks in midseason form. Just kind of give me your thoughts on him, how he was running the offense today, and kind of your confidence level in him with, taking another year in this offense and getting another year under Ben Johnson. How did Goff look?
I think Goff's a dog. Jared Goff's a dog. There was the conversation today. Shout out Easy. We were with Easy at training camp. And there was a lot of conversations going on about Jared Goff. Positive, negative, who knows? Jared Goff, and I want people to know this very, very clearly. I put this in my notes today. This man has full control of this team. He's the leader of this team. I am going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Jared Goff is going to take a big jump this year. And I think it's being with a guy like Ben Johnson for a year 3. Now he's with Amon-Ra St. Brown for another year. He's with Sam Laporta another year. Jameer Gibbs now he's added. That's going to take a step. There's offensive line, Kevin Zeitler, upgrade in my opinion from Jonah Jackson. Jared Goff is the absolute. He seems like he might be at the best point of his career. When Jared Goff says he's in his prime, he is in his prime, and he is absolutely dialed in, and he knows like. This is one of his best chances. He's been in a Super Bowl already. He just lost an NFC Championship game. This guy's looking for a Lombardi trophy. He's been looking for, like, when you're an NFL, you guys know this. All NFL quarterbacks want, you want the MVP. You want a Lombardi trophy. That's all that matters in your career. When people look at you, they get asked, how good of a player was he? How good of a player was he? Did he win a Lombardi? Did he win a Super Bowl? Does he have a Super Bowl MVP? Like that is the biggest question. And with quarterbacks, and I think Jared Goff, that's all that he worries about is bringing the city a Super Bowl MVP. A jump this year, guys. What did he have? 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns last year. He could go out there and get 4,800. I've said it before, 30 plus touchdowns again and less turnovers. I think he's dialed into where I don't see him going out there getting double-digit interceptions this year. I see him going out there getting 30 to 35 touchdowns, 4,500 yards again, if not 4,800, 4,700. I think he's going to take a big jump this year, and it's crazy to say at this point in someone's career, and I know the defense is better, so maybe it takes him off the field, or maybe it helps him get back on the field. And you have the run game. But again, I use that argument. They had the run game last year. They had 2 guys rush for 1,000 yards, essentially. They did. So, I'm all in on the Jared Goff stuff, and I think, he will lead the Lions to a Super Bowl at some point in his career, and I think this year he's taking a massive step. What do you boys think?
I mean, I think we could see a big jump in Jared Goff as far as his control on this offense. You can be like, wow, Jared Goff is playing with a lot more confidence. I think going through his reads, another year in Ben Johnson's system, he's going to have a better grasp of it. So I think when you look at having a command on the offense, I think that's where you see Jared improve. And I think that does absolutely translate to wins because now your offense is just absolutely humming. The quarterback, it all starts with that. So I think that's where Jared improves. I don't see much improvement production-wise in the statistical category because the team is going to get better and he's not going to have to air it out. The optimistic approach that I do have to it is, do I think Jameson Williams can be better than Josh Reynolds? Yes. Do I think that Sam Laporta can improve in yardage? Yes. So can that give Jared Goff more yards? Absolutely. But I just don't think that's going to be the case when you look at how good this team is. I don't think you're going to have to try to think of the right word, rely on JMO to be a huge part of a wide receiver 2 offense when you have an already loaded offense. JMO is going to be the wide receiver 2. But I don't think you're going to have to lean on him game in and game out because there's so many other options. That goes with any player outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameer Gibbs and Sam Laporta in this offense.